found was that resilience is the process and the outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I feel like your topic should have been resilience as well. So, I was born of a teenage mother myself. I was raised by my grandmother. I'm the firstborn. My mother was only 16 years old when she had me. And then from a very young age, I took to myself that I actually had to be responsible in that family household. I come from a very disadvantaged background. We didn't have much. My grandmother and my grandfather didn't have much. But from a very young age, I could see that in the area where I was living, we were not like the same on the street where we were living. I didn't have, for the example, when I went for the first time to school, I didn't have shoes. So I will always remember this story. As a grade 1 learners, we were coming in, and then there were older learners who will come and say, "You are my child, you are my child," and I was not chosen. And I asked, I said, "Why are you not choosing me to be your child?" She said, "Because you are wearing a dress and you don't have shoes," which was the truth. I didn't have those things. I was wearing a pink dress and a cream white shoes. I'll never forget. It's so long time ago, but it stays with me for a long time. So from a very young moment, I just knew that from that young age, I want to grow up and change the dynamics of my family. And then from grade 1 up to grade 12, I've always been in a leadership position. People don't believe when I say I was a prefect in grade 1 up until grade 12, in each and every level. In grade 12, I was the head girl in my school. I was always in that leadership. I don't know how it came about, but it happened. And then from there, I'm trying to summarize. It's a long story for 10 minutes, guys. And then from there, I actually left. I grew up in Newcastle. I left, and then I was actually trained as a teacher. I started training as a teacher when I was only 18, and I finished when I was 21. By age 22, I got married. So I want to actually add another word, men, to my resilience story. As much as today we are dealing with gender-based violence, which is actually havocing our communities, according to the research, it's saying there is a very small number of good men out there. So not all men are bad. So I actually got married when I was very young to my amazing husband, loving and caring. So I got married to my husband, and then I started working as a teacher. And then immediately after that, being an ambitious person that I am, I got an opportunity to go and study civic education overseas. So I had to speak to my husband about it, and he agreed. I went to Ohio State University, where I studied civic education, and then I came back. Immediately when I came back, I conceived my firstborn child, and he's 21 now. And then I was involved with that particular project because it was a grant from the USAID. And then while we were busy promoting, because my topic was addressing teenage pregnancy in rural communities. While I was busy with that, I became severely paralyzed from neck down. It just happened overnight. I didn't know what was happening, so everything changed. From somebody who was all over the newspapers, because that process of us going overseas to study civic education was marketed everywhere. We were in every cover of every local newspaper. And then coming back, and then the paralysis just happened. And I didn't know that it was something that was gonna change my life around. So my husband didn't know what to do at the time, so I was admitted in the hospital. And then the neurologist told me that actually it's gonna take about 6 weeks because my nerves were severely being paralyzed at the time. And then they didn't know the cause, so they were gonna run the test to check what was actually going on. And then immediately after that, they did the test, and there were no answers. What is it? What is going on? Like I'm wearing like 10 inches high heel, and all of a sudden I'm lying. The first day I got admitted, the doctor said because my nerves were being paralyzed, they were going to infuse me with the immunoglobulin. It's something that's going to stop the nerves from the paralysis, which they did. I remember seeing the nurse, the sister, they're coming at night around 8 to put in the thing. By then, the lower parts were actually the parts that was not functioning. But I was able to use my hands on the day I got admitted. But when I woke up the next day, my whole body from neck down was severely paralyzed. I was dead, but I was living in a dead body, but I was alive. So I called the nurse earlier that morning. I said, there's something wrong. When I was admitted the day before, I could move my hands, but I know that my body actually was not moving. Then they said I must wait for my doctor. That's when he told me that let's wait for 6 weeks. So I was in the hospital for 6 weeks. They were running tests. There were no answers as to what was going on. And then my husband was always there, coming in to check on me every single day. To cut the long story short, I was in the hospital for the whole year. I was not getting worse, I was not getting better. I was in that same condition where I could not even brush my teeth. I was on a catheter, I was using the bedpan, I was being washed. I was not able to do anything. So after that full year, the Dr. Motley, who happens to be my colleague now, by the way, actually said, Gugu, there's nothing that you can do. You're not gonna get any better. The only reason why we are keeping you here in the hospital is that so that you can get rehabilitation. So you need to actually communicate with your husband. Are we gonna continue keeping you here in the hospital, or they are gonna take you home? And then because my husband never missed a day, he was visiting me 365 days, every single day, to come and see me. So he came, I explained, and he said, what do you want? I said, I wanna go home. I'm tired of being in the hospital. It's been too much. 12 months, everybody, they are coming, they are going, I'm still here. So we opted for me to get home, which was the better idea, because in the hospital, the neurologist said, oh, that the bed, you know, it's usually like, will actually massage my back. And then for the first time I get home, he didn't even know how to carry me, because I was like, if you know a cop, a person who has passed away, I was in that condition. So if you try to hold me, I'll fall this way. If you try to put me in a sitting position, I'll just fall in any direction, and I got to hurt myself. But then I was home. And then he started to say, you know what, maybe if we can put the sheet, and then we put you, and then I'm gonna ask, my brother was there, so that we can carry you on both sides. So that is how they used to carry me. So I was like that for 7 years. And my husband was the one who was bathing me, who was feeding me, who was, even when I was on my period, he would still do that. You know, and then the sad part is we just bought our first home, we were a young couple. So he actually had to quit his job so that he could actually take care of me. Unknown to us that we were not actually able to pay for the bond, because I lost my job as well as a teacher, where I was working. After 5 years, I was actually in that condition for 7, but by the 5th year, I wasn't getting paid. I lost the medical aid. That is why he was the one who was actually taking care of me. And then from then, I think they were sending the documents about the property, but the information was not there, which is why it is important to understand and know about the properties, like you were saying. But then it went for auction. And then one day, the person who had bought the property came in and told us that they need us to vacate the house. And then from that day, we were homeless. When they came, they actually came fighting, said, please, you need to leave. We bought this home from the auction, just leave. And then they saw me on the mattress lying there, and I think they felt bad. And then they said they're gonna give us a week so that we can find a space to go and look for a space to stay. So my husband went around to look for a room so that we can go and rent. This is why I'm saying these stories actually, so they are very related. So we were homeless, and then we found that space. We didn't even have money, and we actually make some negotiation with the lady who actually had assisted with that space. But then during that 7-year period, I need to mention this. I'm not even sure if you guys actually here are Christians. But during that period, the 7-year period, when I was lying down there, there was something in me and the connection with God. I would speak to God every single day. I just knew something that God, you cannot leave me in this condition. I started believing within me that, you know what, this is not the end. And I started praying every single morning. I'll speak to God every day, every night. Everybody will be sleeping. And I said, God, if you can please give me a second chance. I will actually, if you can give me a second chance, I'll go out there and I'll tell people that you are a living God. You are a God that can change lives. And God listened. In a very strange way though, God told me that I needed to go back to school. I'm like, how am I gonna go to school in this condition? I can't even sit. And then it started in June, this thing, I need to go back to school, I need to go back to school. I spoke to my husband, who is like Trevor Noah, he's full of jokes. He said, how are you gonna go? You're like a cabbage. I'm like, you're gonna push me in the wheelchair. He said, but you can't even sit on the wheelchair. How are you going? I said, I don't know. So during the period, he started to put me in a sitting position and put the pillows around my body so that I can actually gain the strength, you know. The following year, he went, I said, can you take my document and go and apply at UKZN? He started laughing, he said, okay. He went, he came back, he said, they said they are full. You should have applied the year before. I didn't know. Remember, I did my training in a college of education, never been to the university, had no idea the processes and stuff, but God told me I needed to go back to the school, and I had to listen to God and that voice that came on telling me. I told him, I said, but I heard what God was saying to me, I need to go back. I said, go back again. He said, you know, if I'm not here, when I come back, my son will come and like push me like this, and then I'll be falling like this. Maybe if he can push me like this at 10 o'clock and my husband is not around, I'll have to wait for him to come back so that he can lift me. That's how my condition was. He said, but you know, the other day I found you in a very bad condition because Junior will actually be playing with you. I said, fine, but I need you to go. He did. He went again. They told him the same thing over and over again. They were full. I said, just leave my things with the administrators. It was January, no response. February 14, the university started, there was no response. I said, but I know, and I kept on speaking to God, praying. I said, God, I thought I heard your word. I thought I heard you telling me that I need to go back to school. And then on the 5th of March, I received an SMS saying that I've been admitted at UKZN. Wow. And then I needed to go and pay the acceptance fee, which was 500 Rand. There was no 500 Rand. I need to mention there was a year before that December, we had to share a fed cookie, Igwinya, because that's how much money we didn't have. He actually go and spoke to the guy and said, I'll Igwinya. We didn't have money to buy the Igwinya on that particular day. We had to share, myself, him, and Ujuna, Igwinya, sharing among the three of us. And then the next day, the next door lady actually was the one who gave us, I think, 10 kg rice and then the meat, so that we can actually have something to eat. And then after that, I said, you need to find 500 rand. I don't know where you're gonna find it. I don't know where he did, but he found the 500 rand. And then he said, how I'm gonna take you there. He spoke to his cousin who gave us his old car that he could take me to the university on that day. And then we paid the 500 rand. And when we arrived there, they said, oh, you're a person living with a physical disability. I said, yes. And they said, do you know that we've got bursaries for people that are living with disabilities? I said, no. The thing is, when God gives you the word, He doesn't give you the whole story. Yes. I never thought about the funding at all. It never crossed my mind. How am I going? Because had I thought about the funding, I was going to give up. I had no idea about the fund. It never reached there. I just knew I needed to go back to school. So they said, yeah, you need to fill the form, but you need to be seen by the doctor, the campus doctor. They made an appointment. He saw me. He approved. And then he said, every month we're going to be giving you guys 3,500 rand.
Oh.
For us, it was like 3.5 million. And then they said they're going to give us the transport fare. But I ended up getting like over 6,000 every month. This is how actually we're living. So my husband will take me in the morning, push me to the lecture venue, wait outside for me to attend the lecture, come back again, take me to the next lecture venue. He did that for 3 years. So that is why I'm saying, as much as we are dealing with gender-based violence, and the perpetrators in most cases are men, but there are actually good men out there. Maybe we need to find these men and come and say, how actually did you do it? So that maybe they can actually impact our communities and the young boys that are actually growing up. So, summary, I got my first degree with flying colors. So I actually did my honors. And he said, but you said you were just going to want to do the degree. I said, no, I think now I'm here and they are giving me money. Money is everything. And I said, why can't you also register and study something? He said, no, I'm too old. This is your thing. And then I did my honors. And then after that, I saw an advert where they said, do you want to go and study overseas? I said, they're speaking to me. And then they said, you must have the requirements where your academic record must be very good. And then I actually applied. And then the interviews were at Howard. The whole panel, they fell in love with me the first time, even before they could see the academic record. I went and studied psychology overseas. No. They gave me like 75,000 for the trip, just for the trip. And from that trip, I remember that, you know what, I made a covenant with God that if He can give me a second chance, I don't know how many families I actually bought groceries before I even left for overseas. By the time I was only left with the tickets and a few thousands. So I went and then I come back. The university gave me the job. I'm currently doing my PhD now. Wow. And then my husband actually said, after he could see that actually this education, I always tell him you can never go wrong with education. So he said, you know what, I think I want to go back to school. I said, yes. You know why he said that? Because one of the things that I'm doing outside, I do it for free. I help people who want to go back to school. I apply for them. I apply for funding. I academically advise, because the people, when they do the application, they do it wrongly. That is why they don't get the feedback from the higher learning institution. So I will apply for the person, and then I'll actually check which subjects are you doing and how much are you scoring currently where you are. Even if you finished years ago, according to the record that you have, that is how I applied. I've helped over 1,000 people to go back to school.
Wow.
So he could see that I was doing that. He said, can you please help me? And then I said, what do you want to do? He said, I wanted to do law. So he's doing his second degree now, by the way. And he's got his own company now. And also we've adopted 8 kids that we are raising as our own. And then he's also has got staff that is actually employed as well. So just the summary of everything, we've got, I think, our own house, our home, our own home that can accommodate all of these kids. When I was actually looking for this house, I prayed about it because I've learned that actually prayer can change any situation. The house that we had 1 bathroom, and every morning I want to go to the bathroom, somebody is using the bathroom. I said, God, please, I really need, at least if I can have my own bathroom. But now I think we've got a house that's got like 6 or 7 bathrooms. Each and every house has its own but every room has got its own bathroom. These kids, these orphans, they've got their own bedroom and suites in their house. So it can only be God. You know, I just want, if you can take anything away, with support, with resilience, but with God, you can achieve anything. Not every single man out there is actually bad. There are actually good men that are out there. But the strength within me that actually wanted me to pursue, to actually listen to the word of God is that is the strength that has actually kept me to be where I am today. So that is my story. I'm taking a topic now. It's a long story. There's so many dynamics in it, but I'm just going to just do the summary of it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Wow.